What is going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Dent Digest Live Show. We've got a unique one tonight. Wanted to kind of get into this thing and started off doing the right thing. We're all decided to wear our damn masks. So we got Mr. John Vidine that is muted. You can't hear him.
How's everybody doing?
We got John Krug. What's going on?
What's up, guys?
So it's kind of a unique show, and I'm going to take this off so I can speak. So anyway, unique show, kind of some experiences. I'm sure you guys have seen my post here the last week, and I was exposed to someone that was positive with COVID at my shop. We were wearing masks. We were pretty close to 6 feet away, trying to do the right thing. And that's one thing I've done throughout this whole process is I can sit back and say, I'm wearing masks, washing my hands, keeping my distance, trying to do the right thing every day. And I still had to sit at home for 7 days. Was it a little precautionary? Yes, but it was the right thing to do. And, you look at everything and you're like, man, you gotta do it. You know what I mean? I sat here in a bedroom. This is my first day out. I sat in a bedroom by myself for 7 days, for 6 or 7. Yeah, it was 7 days. And I saw John posted something last week and I'm like, okay, I got to reach out to him. And then my shit hit and I was like, let me reach out to him. And John, you're kind of in a tough situation too. Some of your family members are sick, and you kind of got stuck home also, correct?
Me, yeah, I was.
There's two Johns. What am I talking about?
I was going to say, what are you talking to, right?
This will be a fun one.
My wife and son tested positive. So they got locked down for 10 days, or they got to be 10 days locked down, 3 days symptom-free, and then they're done. However, myself and my daughters, the healthy ones at the house, are locked down for 14 days from the time we isolated my wife and son. So I'm actually locked up till tomorrow at midnight. So, yeah,
And I've got Mr. Vidine on here, and it was, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I think it was right after you got back from Branson.
Yeah,
you had a little scare.
Shortly thereafter, yeah, mid-ish November, and yeah, I was at work pushing on a nasty dent, and it was cold that day, so I was layered up, and I started feeling hot. I thought it was the layers, and then I started feeling a little. I just fell off, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna chance it. I just packed up my stuff and left and called the service manager that I report to at that particular account and said, look, I don't feel good, not chancing it. And I went home and slept all day. And then the next day I went and got rapid tested. And I actually fell asleep in the parking lot. It takes 15 minutes for them to come back out to your car and give you your results. And the dude had to knock on my window and wake me up. So I was like, man, this has to be positive, and it came back negative. So I was lucky there, and I still just took the rest of the week off. And I don't know, that Saturday I felt great, Sunday I felt great, so I went back to work on Monday. But it was a weird one.
And there's things that go through your mind. I kind of had a game plan. I kind of had a pre-set up plan of if it happened, because I closed for that 7.5 weeks originally, and I sat back, and you go through a million things. And I remember John posted something the other day. It was like, the mental health part of this is the hard thing, so when I sat at home for the first 7 weeks, it was hard. It was really, really hard. And you're sitting back, and towards the end of that 7 weeks, I was like, all right, I need to figure out a real game plan of what I'm going to do if something happens. If I get sick, one of my guys gets sick, we get exposed, what are we going to do and how we're going to handle it? I don't know if you guys have thought about that, or maybe I'm too precautious. I don't know. My wife's a little educated in this, so it's, you know, I don't know. What did you have a game plan?
I had no game plan. I mean, I was shocked. My wife had been sick and, previous, and then she was fine, and then she started not feeling good again. So the doctor wanted the COVID test. Meanwhile, my son gets a sore throat, and the whole time I'm thinking it's not COVID. We're not going to get COVID. You think you don't think it's going to happen to you, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And actually, we got my son's results first. And when he came back, and I took him, got swabbed. We thought he had strep throat, and when the doctor called and said, "Oh, you're positive for COVID," we kind of figured at that point. My wife probably was too. But game plan? No, there was definitely no game plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was as much as we're okay. My wife was really sick for a while, but it's pretty shocking. One of them things you don't think is going to happen to you. So
yeah,
here's the lesson: have a game plan. How's that?
That's it. A lot of it's how I say it's your execution. Mm-hmm. But some of us think better on our feet. You know what I mean? In a rush. A lot of guys do better when it's last minute, like John Vidine.
I think some people are better on their feet than others, but I think having a plan is always better than just winging it. But yeah, for me, I had no plan, and luckily, we're up here in Minnesota, and so many people are Minnesota nice, and you just say, "Hey, I'm a little under the weather," and they say, "Okay, then we'll see you when you feel better." But I don't know, man. It's like that is what I'm banking on. Just the relationships I've already built that they're gonna understand in these unprecedented times that shit happens. So everybody was super cool when I took 2.5 days off. So I wasn't out that long, but and I'm lucky enough, like Q's in here. I think he just commented. I got a ton of guys surrounding me here, ton of PDR guys that I've helped them out. They've helped me out, vice versa. We all work together, and we're friendly competition, however you want to say it. But I'm lucky to have a lot of really good techs around me that are also really good people. So I would lean on those guys, and I would hope that they would lean on me if they're in a similar situation.
And that is one positive thing, that how the industry has changed to where you can call your competition and say, "Hey, can you handle some cars for me?" And you're not worried about them going in and stealing your account. That's how the industry's changed. Back in the day, not a chance in hell one of my competitors could go into one of my accounts because I didn't trust them. But it is a nice change. It's a nice change for me to call a guy and say, "Hey, can you handle a couple cars?" And I had a guy working last Saturday for me because we were shut down on Friday, So that is a very positive thing about our industry right now, which is kind of nice,
It's super nice. And I just saw Q's comment. I got your back, brother. Like,
that's it.
If your heart ain't beating out of your chest right now, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Thanks, Q. Love you, brother.
So how is your family, John? Let's get into that first.
Family is much, much better. This thing's kind of amazing how my son, basically, now he's 19, so granted, but sore throat. You know what I mean? That was pretty much the gist of it. My wife was extremely sick for probably 3 or 4 days of really, sicker than I've seen her in over 20 years.
And you said you still slept in the same bed with her when she was sick.
Yeah, well, that was something. Technically, according to the health department, you're supposed to lock her in the bedroom. Yeah. They said, bring her meals to the door. And when your wife is that sick, literally, I'm practically carrying her to the bathroom. How do you do that? How do you just take, the one you love and just lock her in the bedroom and say, "Hi, bye, honey. See you when you feel better. Let me know." And like you said, the emotional side of it. I got there's times she was breaking down because this thing can be scary, man. You know what I mean? People are dying from this. And she's crying. My daughters are in the hallway upstairs outside the bedroom. They're crying. It's
It is crazy. I remember the minute I got the call and I looked at my wife and I was like, can you meet me in the garage? And we come out here and she's like, what's up? And I was like, I was exposed to someone with COVID, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, all right, code 43 or whatever, So I go straight upstairs and, I'm not really prepared at that point. I say I'm prepared for it, but I wasn't really prepared for that minute.
Sure.
And I remember the minute, and my kid's only 6-year-old daughter. But with my wife being involved with infectious disease, we talk about it a lot. We talk about COVID a lot. We talk about all that type of stuff. And she watches the news. So my kid knows that people are dying from COVID. Sure. And, I remember going upstairs and I could hear her crying downstairs, asking my wife if I was going to die.
Yeah.
You're 6 years old, seeing this on TV, knowing more than she should probably know, but this is the world we live in here. And she's crying. And I just sat upstairs and I was like, gives you a different perspective. You know what I mean? I think if I was a single male, I wouldn't care, younger, single.
You probably get on your motorcycle and ride across the country.
I probably would head to Minnesota. But
shout out to my buddy Keith.
Yeah. But it's and you don't know, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, even like you're like, when is it going to hit? It's like having the Grim Reaper. It's having the Dent Reaper hanging over your shoulder, just waiting for it to hit, and every minute you're checking. I was checking my temperature, man. I feel a little warm. I got this weird cough, and I was literally stuck in my bedroom for 7 days. I didn't leave for 7 days. And I'm like, when I got out today, I did feel like I was in prison because, I've been getting food underneath the table. Nothing's really hot. It's all kind of medium. She did great. My wife did a fantastic job. I appreciate everything she did. I mean, I did get steak in bed. I mean, I can't complain.
There you go.
But getting my prison meals under the table. And then the minute I got the news that my test came back negative, I got thrown outside to go shovel snow.
There you go.
But she did shovel snow the other day, so I can't complain, But I was like, damn.
Did she use her connections to speed up your test when she found out the snow was coming?
No. It was pretty quick, though. I mean, I didn't get a rapid. I got a regular test, but it was. It only
I don't know how you do that. I called and figured it all out. It was like I could go get a test for free and find out in 72 hours, or I could pay $110 and find out in 15 minutes. And I was like, take my money, because I am not sitting here for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had any other tests that you were waiting for the results on, but
now, did they do the little swab or did they do the brain scratcher?
They did the little swab.
Yeah,
I forget what it's called now.
It's so funny because I see people in the news and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this thing is so terrible." I'm like, "No, you should try the one that's this big, it's deep in there." Yeah.
Well, my wife gets tested twice a week, so she knows all the ins and outs on the testing, and she found the testing place for me, set everything up. So I was lucky there.
It's you get to that point, and like I said, John, I'm going to call you the Reaper, and I'm going to call him the John and the Reaper.
John.
You're sitting there, you're trying to take care of your wife and your kid. Your phone's ringing. How were you handling what was coming in as on the work end and taking care of the family?
Well, I can honestly say probably the largest Chevrolet dealer in the area got shut down for about a week and a half, 2 weeks because of COVID. they had like 20 confirmed cases in the dealership. So that was probably about a month and a half ago. So basically all the dealerships in the area got really scared at that point. Because, I mean, let's face it, what's it cost the new car franchise to be shut down for a week and a half?
Yeah.
Right? So I got the phone calls and, hey, we got COVID in the house. And most of them were pretty good at that point. Most of them were like, oh, no, stay home. Normally, normally it's like, well, are you really that sick? Come on, just come do this one car for me. When this case, once they hear COVID, it was like, oh, my God, nope, you stay home. You let me know when you're good. If anything, I was getting calls and texts from customers just wanting to know, I had a body shop call me like 2 days ago, and he was like, John, not calling because I have a dent. I'm just calling to check on your wife, your family. How you doing? How you holding up? Like you said, you talk about a network. I had so many customers, general managers of new car franchises are like, can I bring you something? I'll drive it out right now. Do you need food? I'll order you a meal from somewhere. What do you like? So from that standpoint, it was, overwhelming. Just, the support, I guess you could say. And they were definitely, this week the phone's been kind of, when is the quarantine up? It's got to be cool, right? Yeah. They are car dealers, so it only lasts just so long. But no, it's been good. Like I said, I tell them I'll catch up when I can. We owe the car. Put the customer out. What do you want to do?
Yeah, it's been. I know the feeling. It's. How about you? When you were out, just standard, telling people, "Hey, I'm not working today, Mr. Reaper."
Yeah. Well, I did one text, and then I just copy and pasted all of my points of contact at my different accounts, and same thing. If retail stuff came in, I just said I'll call you next week when I know more, and everything went really well. So. Nobody complained or kicked and screamed, so that was good. I didn't even have to call Q or anybody else for that matter. But
I ended up having a full week already booked, every day but Friday, and I ended up reaching out to the accounts first. So I had a bunch of accounts that were scheduled with cars dropping off, and just said, "Hey, just giving you a heads up. We were exposed to someone with COVID at my shop. I'm taking precautions. I'm shutting it down. We're not going to be able to make it on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was." And most of them were like, "Okay, let me know when you're back." Like, wanted to get off the phone, like they could catch it through the phone as fast as you were like, "Okay, click." I'm like, damn.
Once they get COVID, that's all of a sudden everything's okay. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's terrible.
You got it.
I got
an emergency. I have COVID. You know what? It's not that big of an emergency.
It's not really an emergency.
And America hasn't lost humanity. And why I say that is I had some retail customers, and it's such a shitty world right now. Facebook and the news and people fighting and not getting along. And something really touched my heart today. And I really absorbed it and I looked at my wife and I was like, "You've got to read this." And it was a customer that scheduled a repair. I called him. I called everyone personally, all the retail customers, and said, "Hey, this is what's going on. When we get back open, I'll get you back on the books. I'll offer you a small discount for the inconvenience." Everybody was really receptive. "No problem. Just let us know. We're thinking of you." Okay. I got a text from a customer today that was scheduled last week that I canceled on and was like, "Hey, I'm not rushing to get my car fixed. I just wanted to check to see how you and your family are doing." And I was like, this guy doesn't even know me. He doesn't even know me. And I'm still going to go to his house and take his money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know me. And you're legitimately just checking on me, which I thought was like, holy crap. That's pretty cool. And that's what the world should be like. You know what I mean? Like, the human being. It's not about money. It's not about getting something for free. It's not about anything. It's about the human nature, But it was super nice. What I did, and I'll kind of get into my little spiel of what I had in plan, I kind of sat back, and with COVID, it's a scary thing for a lot of people. And my thought was, if you first say I did get COVID, I wasn't going to run down my whole list of accounts and say, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm out with COVID. The reason why is it gets them in a scare tactic. You know what I mean? I almost feel like they're scared to call you back because nobody knows right now. You know, everybody still kind of doesn't know how you can catch it, when you can catch it, and how long it lasts. Are you immune? You know, nobody really knows the real story right now. So I felt like I didn't want to scare everybody. So what I took was every account that I already had scheduled, I called them and said, hey, we were exposed. Neither one of us have any symptoms. I just wanted to let you know I'm shutting it down to do the right thing. Some of them were like, you're good. Some of them were like, God darn, I can't believe it. You're going to be okay. And I'm like, I don't have COVID. You know, I'm doing precautionary things. But as the week went, the phone calls kept coming, and it got to a point to where some of these places I had to get taken care of by a local tech when we get back to saying, okay, you know, having that network of people in your area to cover your stuff is a huge thing. But some of the accounts, I could tell it was bothering them. You know, it was towards the end of the week this week, and it's kind of a high profile account that I have. And I said, hey, drive them to the shop today, drop them in my Dropbox. I'll come down tonight and fix them and go back. No exposure to anybody. I'll sanitize the cars. And his response was, yeah, I'd rather not drive a car that you were in. So, and I understand. I didn't even get mad. I didn't even get upset. I kind of sat back and was like, I get it. I get it. You know, because I'm pissed too, because, you know, the customer that I had at the shop kind of told us after the fact that there were people at his work that had COVID. Like, if I would have known that before, I would have done it differently. You know, and on my end as a business, from here forward, this can't happen again. That's how I look at this. This cannot happen again. For one, 7 days we couldn't go to work. For two, it terrorized my family because they're scared. You know, my wife's educated in infectious disease. Like I said, my kid's terrified that I'm going to die. I don't even have it. And she's terrified that I'm going to die. It's not worth it. At the end of the day, it's not worth it. So, you know, now I'm making precautions. Nobody's allowed in the shop. All the transactions are outside. As much touchless as we can do. You know, drop the keys, pay over the phone. That whole deal is in effect as of tomorrow. And I'm at a point, you know, some customers need a place to wait. They can't wait. This is where we are. We're shutting it off. You're going to have to figure other plans out. Can you give me a ride? No. You know, it's just not worth the chance of making this happen again. But I think in your business, you need to really make those mental plans. You know, it wasn't like it was on paper. I knew, let's deal base by base, deal with who calls, deal with what accounts you have on that schedule the week that you have to take off, and deal with them situationally, saying, okay, I can get a tech out there. A friend of mine will come. Or you sit back and you say, look, this is what's going on. Can you reschedule that car, or I'll go to them after I get back reopened, no extra charge. You know, so I think in your business plan right now, you really need to, and every area is different. You know, here it's crazy. Here it's a wild west with COVID right now. You know what I mean? It's everywhere. So you just really need to put plans that you're prepared and you're not scrambling if something like this does happen, and be ready to go, you know, and I always sit back. I learned a lot this year when I closed for 7.5 weeks that I was always worried about losing accounts. Hey, I'm closed for 7.5 weeks. I can't serve my accounts. Somebody else is going to get in there. True, it could happen. It very well could happen. But it's not like you're taking a vacation for 7.5 weeks. You're taking off because of unprecedented issue throughout the country. And the other good thing, like you, John, you have good enough relationships with your accounts to where they understand, they respect your decision or whatever you have to do, and they're not pressuring you.
Sure.
You know, you didn't feel like, okay, I'm going to lose this account if I don't get out there.
No.
You have that relationship, and I'm huge, and I've been saying this for years. Our business right now is all relationship based. If you don't have strong relationships, it's a struggle every day. You know, the tech that came and did my accounts for me, my couple body shops that he had to go to, he's like, man, it is so nice going into your accounts. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, everybody's so nice. Everybody accepted me. I was like, what the hell happens at your accounts? I mean, where are you going? And he's like, it's just different, man. It's just not like this. And I'm like, that's on you.
Yeah.
You need to fix that. It doesn't matter what name is on your shirt, okay? It doesn't matter if it's Dent Wizard, Gray Duck, the Dent Doctor. It doesn't matter. It's you. They're not buying the company. They're buying you personally. How did you feel while you were closed with your accounts calling?
No, I mean, I never felt, like I said, I had one customer, a body shop, and I'm pretty tight with the manager. And he called me up and he's like, John, I got a few things here that I really need done. And, I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? And he's like, no, I'll try to put him off. And he ended up calling in the guy that actually used to do the account. And I kind of felt bad because I told him, I said, why don't you call him and just be straight up with him? Hey, my guy's out with COVID for a couple of weeks. Apparently he wasn't exactly straight up with him. So this guy kind of might think he's back in the door. I'm not really sure. But no, I never felt like I was going to lose any of the accounts. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned at this point, an account that would really replace you over a couple of weeks of, something like this, not an account I want anyway.
Exactly.
Good luck. Have fun with your new guy. That's good. So,
Yeah. And when he's out, don't call me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Or I'll come back and it's double the price.
Well, maybe for double the price, I'll come back. Maybe.
Now, the Reaper, obviously, me and John are on the same East Coast. It's different everywhere. I see Texas, I see people in Texas are like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not, it's such different in different places. Florida's the same way. It's different all over the place. Here, we've got restaurants owners getting beat up by the people that are coming. Well, now that the restaurants are closed, but before they were getting beat up when they were coming in because they were asking the customer to wear a mask and they were getting beat up for it. It's so different throughout the whole country. I don't know. I'm over precautious and I'm good with that. It's kind of a image that I want the company to look to. I want the customer to say, okay, showed up with a mask on. He's wiping the keys down. He's wiping the car down. It's that inst of comfort. Because after you get that uncomfortable end away, they don't focus on the price. You know what I mean? They focus on, okay, now I feel like I'm getting a service.
Sure.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of my retail customers as of late, I don't even know if they would normally get their dents fixed. I feel like some of them are just like, some people just want to support local business. And you can definitely feel that in some of the attitudes of customers these days. And yeah, they do appreciate it. You show up, get out of the truck. I always get out of the truck with my mask on. And honestly, I'd say it's probably 50-50 here. Yeah. Some people don't wear a mask, and sometimes they'll see me with a mask and go grab their mask.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they'll see me with a mask and they'll be like, "Oh, you're one of those mask guys, huh?" And I'll just be like, "Wow, whatever." You know how
you break that up? You're like, "Yeah, you know what? I get paid to be a bank robber now." And it's okay. It's okay to wear this around town now. In Baltimore, they think you robbed a bank or an ATM. So I don't know. It's different times.
You find the older people, like I've been to some houses and literally like an 80-year-old woman comes out and she's like, would you take that mask off? I can't even stand looking to it. You know what I mean? Like the person that's probably highest at risk, right? And she's yelling at me to take it off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I mean, if you want me to, we'll keep our distance, but really, you're kind of the one we're supposed to be protecting here, right?
Yeah. This is for you, not me.
Yeah. And if you get it, you're most certainly probably gonna die. So
You're like, lady, I've been breathing out of this mask for 10 hours. My eyes are about to fall out of my head. And I've only got a portion of the oxygen level in my blood. I'm good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel like has it affected business, do you think?
I think almost as weird as this has been money wise, like John said, like Mr. Reaper said, my retail now, let's just so we get straight, I'm wholesale, car lots, body shops, and probably if I had to break it down, I'd probably say I'm 50% lot work, 25% body shops, 25% retail. In the summer, wintertime, it's a little bit different. But from the retail perspective, I mean, worldwide pandemic, and my phone's ringing off the hook with retail customers, and I almost couldn't charge them enough money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm going in and I'm going off my price guides and I'm giving them, and the pushback was very minimal, almost none. It was like, well, I wouldn't even ask a price. Yeah, just do it. So it was really weird. Like, I don't know if people had more money this year, if like John said, they were trying to support the local guy, but from a retail end, it was super busy and prices were, I got more money probably than I've ever gotten for, retail work. It was crazy.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, what is that? A Brad Paisley song? I mean, we're having a record year. And some of that's hail and some of that's other factors, but I think too, being mobile with all these people at home, scheduling's been really easy. Like, I'm home all day, every day.
Yep. Exactly.
Whenever works for you.
I'm working for home. Come whenever.
Yeah, and I think that adds to it. I think people are sitting at home. In the beginning, I was like, man, we had 70 people on a wait list. And I looked at my wife and I was like, people are spending money like this?
It didn't make sense.
What in the hell?
Dude, they got a $1,200 check and the lines at Costco and Walmart were out the door. They sold out of TVs. Pandemic, we're shutting everything down. Here's $1,200. Hold yourself over, and everybody's like, "Well, I'm getting a new TV.
Yeah.
You may lose your job tomorrow, but we're gonna just whatever."
TV and toilet paper, like what? That's all I need. That'll get me through. It
was so. That's like you said, John. I said it's so crazy that they weren't batting an eye on price. It was like, holy crap. You know what I mean? I mean, we were crushing it for months. I think on the hail end, we got some hail here. I think it's some insurance companies, it's made it really easy. Other insurance companies, it's made it really difficult. They're fighting you over the phone off of pictures, and you kind of have to stay in your shoe and just say, look, I'm not fixing it. You can put a roof on it. You kind of have to stay in your show. But I don't know, man. It's been such a weird year. How were you dealing with your mental end? What did you do while you were sitting at home? Were you doing anything business related to John, or were you, what were you doing while you were sitting at home?
I was pretty much losing my mind. Business related. I spent a lot of time on, watching videos, stuff like that. I didn't really get into any of the advertising or anything. I know a lot of guys say, take your downtime and do that sort of stuff, but I don't really do much of that as it is. Like I said, with the mix I have, you know what I mean? I don't really, I just word of mouth. and I have more work than I can do pretty much every day. And especially now with, falling even further behind, I was kind of like, the last thing on my mind was trying to figure out how to get more business in the door.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have been. I'll agree. You know what I mean? But no, I was, and I try to get some downtime, and I try to use it as that. I don't do a very good job at downtime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My kids always tell me, Dad, you're either fixing dents, you're watching dent videos, but I guess that's just what we do, right?
We're all screwed up.
Yeah.
We are. We're all screwed up a bunch.
Hey, there's other things we could be doing.
I don't know if they are. Somebody tell me.
It's the same thing with me. Sunday's my downtime and I'm doing something. You know what I mean? My wife's like, can't you just relax?
No,
Jesus. And I'm like, no.
I am. Yeah, I'm on a dent podcast, but I'm relaxing.
Right.
I'm enjoying that. So,
for me, it was good because I think I was more at peace with it because I took that 7 weeks off originally in the beginning. I used to get really anxious and really worried that I was going to lose accounts. And this year taught me a lot. But what this did was, let me tell you, I think there were some days I spent probably 10, 11 hours in my bed. My wife would call me a million times on FaceTime and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, watching Netflix. Can I call you back? Like, it made me relax.
What did you find? What was your favorite series you found on Netflix or any other streaming?
What I really enjoyed? It was a movie called Peppermint, and it was about a mother that her husband's brother was trying to steal from like a Mexican mafia guy, from the cartel guy. And then they killed the daughter and the husband, and then she just like,
all right, spoiler alert.
Yeah, they couldn't prosecute the guys because they got off because they were connected, and she like got training and learned how to shoot, and like this ended up taking one off at a time, and it was a really, really good movie. And I was like, man, I've been passing this over for weeks. I watched all the stuff I would never watch regularly because I had the time, but I spent a lot of time. The first 3 days I took to myself. I just kind of chilled, laid around, watched Netflix and just kind of chilled out. The end of it, I really spent a lot of time back on Google My Business. A lot of thumbnails, a lot of little clips for Instagram and Facebook. And I spent a lot of time. I probably spent 5 hours a day on it. See if it paid off. We'll find out in a couple weeks usually. I could tell this morning when I would get the little Google updates, hey, your picture's been seen 560 times. I'm like, I just posted that 3 days ago. So
do you use a scheduler for that kind of thing, or you just?
I'm a blast away while I'm taking a poop in the morning.
Well, better time.
That's what
I gotta say, Ryan, you have a pretty shitty social media plan.
Michael from Dent Source, he's like, every time I'm taking a poop, I see your post first thing in the morning. You're up for all of us, and I was like, I'm 5:30 posting away. It's a lot of it's discipline. I think a lot of it's maybe it's a control thing instead of having it scheduled, and I like to try to time it where I get the most response.
Yeah. I understand all that, but at the same time, I get lazy and I just want to plug in.
It's all about that discipline.
I want to plug in. I want automation, not discipline.
Automation. Look at this guy. That's what's happened to America. That's what's happened.
It was called the Industrial Revolution, Ryan. It happened 70, 80 years ago.
You're right. You're right.
Can I tell you the whole everything you guys, people in a full retail, Mike Toledo blows my brain when he starts talking with the stuff he does. And like I said, doing small retail, mostly lot work and deal and body shops. That's part of what's kind of stopped me, because that appeals to me none. Like Google AdWords and this
It's
Instagram
overwhelming.
post and I don't want anything to do with that. And once you go retail, that's a necessity. I mean, you have to get into that world, and that's a world I don't really understand. And so I've kind of, what I mean? It's just hard to, with such a, busy business as it is, to shift over to the retail. That's part of what's kind of stopped me at this point, because I don't want, I want to fix dents. That's kind of my happy place.
Yeah.
But you said one thing to me the other day. You said, I'm getting to the point where I want to slow down. Right? So now this is just my thought process, okay?
Yeah.
Doing dealer work, you've been doing dents for a while.
Yes, sir.
You buy really good tools. I mean, we can't complain on that.
Yeah.
But retail is your way to make good money and still slow down.
Absolutely.
And
is real.
So, maybe here in this future, you're going to start making that transition.
Honestly, I never thought I would. I'm like, I got such a, business is booming. I'm busy every day because I can't deal slow. You know what I mean? I don't do slow. That drives me crazy. So, and I know any retail business, I've talked to a lot of guys, there's slow periods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's things that held me back, but as of the last year or two, I've been actively searching for that garage. You know what I mean? And it's probably coming, because ultimately I do have to dive into that world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it gives you the flexibility. I mean, look at Manny. Manny has his website, and he just puts a scheduler on there, and they book their own times, which is nice.
Sure.
That's what I'm talking about, Manny. Automation.
And that's a good one. That's a good one. One thing that I just read, and I've been reading it for the last couple of weeks. I keep seeing post after post after post, and it really drives me bonkers. And when you have a customer that no-shows you, even though you'll do a confirmation the night before, and you'll send it to them, and they don't respond, and then they don't show. Cole Fox started charging $25, like a reservation fee. And he says he hasn't lost any business, and everybody's shown up. So I don't know. I was talking to my wife about it tonight. And
so $25 to book the appointment?
Yeah. And then when they come in, you take that $25 and apply it towards a repair.
Right. But
I don't know how that would be perceived. It's kind of that fine line you have to walk. I don't know. But it sucks. I mean, I got one for 9:00 tomorrow that, I've been closed for 7 days and never confirmed. So I'm going to have to go to the shop, sit around, make sure they just didn't get the message, and waste an hour of my time waiting to see if they show up.
You could text them tonight and be like, see you tomorrow at 9, right?
Well, I've already tried to confirm, and they didn't confirm. I've called, left message, email.
They're not.
They didn't say yes or no. Okay.
So,
yeah.
They're not.
I don't know. That would be interesting to see how that would work. I think too. This is gonna sound bad. Everybody buckle it up. I'd be interested to know, Danny. So then, with that sunk cost, they've already got money into me showing up. So if I'm going full retail with every single markup, and the price is a little bit higher than they expected, they're like, well, I already got $25 into this. I might as well just have them do it. Or would that, I don't know if that would deter them or not, because I am not afraid. I did it 2 days in a row last week. Gave them a price. They were like, well, that's way more than I thought it was going to be. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is, as it says right behind you there, right? And I walked. I don't negotiate.
Well, do you get pictures up front? When they call you, you have some sort of idea? Because
but these pictures never come through. And one guy was like, yeah, it's just one little ding on the fender of my Durango. I get there. Yeah, it's one little ding. with 2 comet swoops of a 4-inch crease heading into this ding.
Yeah.
And I told them it would be 150, $200, and then when I got there, it was like 486 or something, and he was flipping out at first. And he's a painter. I'm looking at his coverall suit covered in paint, and I'm like, just curious, what do you charge to paint? He's like, well, I get it. People sometimes think painting's expensive. I just didn't think it was going to be this expensive. I mean, what's this going to take you, like 20 minutes? And I'm like, no, this is not going to take 20 minutes. This is a bad dent. Well, I can get a new fender and have it painted for that. I said, I highly doubt it, but if you do, let me know.
I'll send you all my paint work.
Yeah. So
you got that Pops a Dent tool. That's what you're doing. Using that little straw, sucking that thing out.
It popped out. How hard is it? Just pop it out.
Just pop it out.
He says, Albert says, it's easy. It'll just pop out.
Mm-hmm.
Great show last week, Albert. That was a really good show. I enjoyed that one.
That was awesome.
But John, what have you learned from this?
What have I learned from this? Just don't take anything for granted. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll be honest with you. When this COVID first hit, we had a whole system down. I mean, I came home, my wife would meet me at the door. I'd literally strip down to my underwear at the door, throw the clothes in the washer. She'd Lysol me down, and and then we got kind of lax. You know what I mean? Literally right in the shower.
I'm still doing that. That's still me.
And we kind of got lax after that. Numbers were down. Things were fine. This is going to go away. And now we learned, it's still out there. It's a real thing. And I was really guilty of, I probably knew 30 people that tested positive. And, from my dealerships, service managers, that sort of thing. And I'd say, gee, were you sick? And they go, no, I had the sniffles for 2 days. So I was like, everybody's getting COVID, but nobody's getting sick. Well, I'll tell you, somebody got sick. Yeah, my wife was sick. So I saw firsthand what this thing can do. And you know what? I think I learned a lot about my customers too, that like we discussed before. I mean, which customers are there, which ones are really your customers, and which ones were, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, hey, dents can wait, right?
Yeah.
So I think you really learned a lot about, your customer base at that point too.
100%. And there was the other thing I wanted to bring up earlier that we kind of went off on our rant, but beginning of the COVID season, I messaged you. You did a live feed on Facebook or Instagram, one of those two.
Yeah, Facebook.
And just kind of going about your struggles when it first hit, what you were struggling with. And I messaged you. I don't remember what I said, but I think in our industry right now, it's really good and comforting for guys to do that. You're kind of vulnerable. You're kind of like, I'm this big bad dent guy. But I think you helped a lot of guys out because they were feeling the same thing you were feeling. They just weren't saying it.
Yeah, that was, geez, Ryan, you went through it more than anybody. I mean, you shut down for 7.5 weeks. And same thing. When this COVID was hitting, I was like, we're going to get closed down for 2 weeks. You know what? I could use 2 weeks off. Mm-hmm. They closed dealerships. Everything's closed down. If everything's closed down, I think I could handle 2 weeks off, get some projects done. And then, pretty quickly we learned this is not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then you get the other aspect of how long is it going to be? You know what I mean? How long are we going without income? Will there be programs? Will there, the unknown, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So again, if I could say anything, I would say number one is communication, because I reached out to every one of my accounts. I didn't send them text messages or emails. I literally, while I was driving, a lot of times got the phone on, and I called them personally, let them know what was going on. Asked them what their plan was. You know what I mean? Are you guys closing down? So I had some dealerships that were like, we're closing down right from the get-go because they thought it'd be 2-3 weeks. And they were like, yeah, we're closing like as of tomorrow. Okay. So then I knew. So yeah, just like I said, and then my body shops. In the beginning, the body shops were still pretty busy, and the sales kind of dropped off when they were closing them down. So I just said, hey, listen, you see a car come in, it's got a front end hit, and there's some dings in the doors. Sell it, put a number on it. Some of the numbers were good. I had some guys got me more money than I probably would have put on it. Some of them were kind of shitty, like really $150 for all that. But at the end of the day, it was $150 was, half a loaf of bread's better than no bread, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I just kept the lines of communication open. And I'll actually tell you another thing I did too. After the fact, I actually sent a thank you letter out to all my accounts that kept me going through the COVID. I actually put a picture of my wife and kids and family picture on it. And again, this one I wasn't real sure of how it would get perceived. And I just basically, wanted the family aspect, you know what I mean? Because it's a family run business and I'm just a little guy, not the dent wizard. I'm not, you know what I mean? And gave them a little perspective, and thanked them for, keeping me going. And it was actually perceived really well. Man, I had, multi-million-dollar, guys that run a multi-million-dollar dealerships calling me in their office and they're thanking me. And I'm like, well, I was thanking you. Giving me money. And they were like, well, no, we don't, gee, it was so nice that we know you appreciate the cars we give you. You know what I mean? So I think that actually went, even I had a pretty strong relationship, I like to think, but that just kind of strengthened the relationship even more that, they're not just a number to me either. You know what I mean?
It is. And I said, I was talking to somebody the other day, wanted some tech, somebody called and he was like, how's your accounts handling it? And I was like, well, some of them are like, man, take care. We'll figure it out. It gets to that point to where you build that relationship and you walk into that account and you're like, how's Sally doing? How did her, she learn how to get off those training wheels yet?
Mm.
You get to that next level, you know what I mean? Of beyond, I'm taking your money. I'm here to make money. It's not a business at that point. I look at every one of my accounts that I have right now as family.
Sure.
And they get put in tiers. You look at all of them. They're all not like that. They're all not perfect. They're all, some of them are crap accounts that I just don't bend over backwards for, but it makes life so much easier.
I had one account and I've been doing work for him for probably 15, 16 years. And the owner called me up and he says, John, take your wife to the hospital. And my wife was adamant. She's like, I'm not going to the hospital. We got to load her in an ambulance, send her off, can't go with her. And she was adamant, like, I'll kick this thing's ass. I'm not going and sitting all by myself in the hospital. And this guy was begging me because he's like, he had his business partner, had a friend that was really sick, and they gave him this new drug that's going around, the one President Trump took, this new concoction. Mm-hmm. And he's like, they'll give it to her in a hospital. And he was like generally concerned, you know what I mean? And we've been out to dinner with him, me and my wife and his wife over the years, and we've been over to his house. So we're kind of a little, like you said, friendly, but he was generally concerned. Like, he's like, I'm scared for you and your wife. Take her to the hospital. They'll give her this drug. And we end up not having to do that. But he was, it was kind of good that you could hear the concern in his voice, on like a human level, not just, he wasn't calling me for cars. I need dings. I need, so that stuff was, felt really good.
I mean, I got the call today. I kind of made fun of it earlier, but he's probably watching. Should be really nice. He may cuss me out tomorrow or something, but he called me today. He's like, hey, when are you off quarantine? And I was like, I got my test. How'd it go? It's negative. Perfect. I got a hail car coming in because I know you've been out for 7 days. I'm like, son of a, and it was kind of, I don't know if he was looking out for me or it just happened, but it's nice when you have that relationship. You know what I mean? It's that you kind of feel like somebody's looking out for you. You know what I mean? It's that you don't mind bending backwards if they have an emergency on Saturday and really need this thing fixed. You don't mind going there and doing it. It doesn't, like, oh man, I don't feel like going. You get past that point.
Sure.
Oh yeah. it's reciprocal both ways. I think, if they know that you're helping them when you can help them, then they're going to help you when they can help you. And if it's not that way, those people are going to weed themselves out.
Yep.
And I mean, the way I let go of an account is I just stop going. So, if they don't appreciate what I do and what I do for them, and, I always appreciate the business, but it's gotta be a two-way street. And there's enough dents out there that, you can fill your plate with good people, I think. And, the other people will just have to feed another dent guy, because I'm not gonna be undervalued or underappreciated.
Yeah. What have you learned? Go ahead, John.
I just had one account that when the COVID started, they didn't call me for 3 months. You know what I mean? I let them know in the beginning, if you need me, call me. I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be like. And same thing, went 3 months, and I still have. They call me, I'll go do a car for them, but they're like, hey, can we get back on a normal rotation? And I'm like, well, I kind of gave your spot away. I didn't hear from you for 3 months, and they were like, really? Well, yeah,
I've got the same situation now. I've got an account that I've been there 7 years, and it's a decent account. I mean, there's some smashes, but I get okay money for it. But as soon as COVID hit, they said no vendors allowed. Okay, cool. So then we got back out on the road, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, I'll call you when we need you. Oh, okay, cool, gotcha. Yeah. Then they started changing their plan, and they ended up giving my numbers. They were selling cars, promising the dent fixed, and then saying, hey, here's my dent guy's card. He'll work it out with you.
Oh, love that.
So they started getting charged retail pricing because I'm chasing this customer around town to get their car fixed. And I get a call from the GM, and he says, what's going on with our pricing? And I'm like, what do you mean? You're no longer a wholesale account. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, how wholesale works is you give a little, I give a little. Back and forth. We work together. Right now, I'm chasing your customer around town.
Yeah. Well, it's preposterous for him to think that he's going to get, because when a customer already knows the dent's there, you have to glass it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Try to explain.
Then they're picking other dents on the car because they realize them after they saw that one.
Yeah.
And still today, I call him every other week, and he's like, okay, yeah, just come on down. And it'll be a smash, and I'm still charging him pretty good pricing. But he's like, I've been selling cars with dents on them. Why fix it? Okay.
Sure.
Cool. Glad you learned something. And then we stopped in the other week, and he's like, Shane was like, man, he's got a lot of the same inventory. I'm like, because they all got dents in them. What do you expect? You were known for some of the cleanest cars in the area, and now you're selling crap. Your bumper guy, the bumper guy's doing the same thing, just barely here or there. I think it's a lot of it in their head. They're like, let me give them enough just to keep them around. Nah, wrong guy.
Yep.
The Reaper, what have you learned on this whole thing throughout this whole process?
Man, I've learned that I know less than I've ever thought I do. Like, you just never know. And it's just perspective as a whole, I guess. I mean, in March and April, I thought my savings would be depleted by now. I thought, things were going to be really bad. And I ended up going down to Houston for a month to chase hail because I wasn't sure how things were going to work out. And ever since I've been back, it's just been pedal to the metal. And just, these last couple of weeks, finally, things are starting to slow down a little bit. And I'm welcoming it at this point. So, it's everything's weird. That's what I've learned. Everything is just weird. And there was a point in early April where I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, and I talked to you about it too, Shuddy, because you shut down, and I was like, you know, I can't do it. I have to go. I can't sit here and watch. I mean, whoever it was, Cuomo or
Cuomo.
all the news, just it lives on surfaces. It doesn't live on. Nobody knows anything. So, give me a mask. I'm gonna go find some dents, and that was probably the best decision I made. Just do your best to stay safe, but if you're not gonna force me to shut down, I can't. I'm not gonna shut down. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Oh,
My wife wanted to shut down, I think, at the beginning a little bit. So I was okay, like I said. And after like 2 days, she's like, I'm like, my chiropractor had a car, 16-year-old daughter, racked the fender on this Explorer. It was nasty and ugly. And to be honest with you, I was kind of just alibiing him off, right? And I'm like, I'm going to call up Doc and have him drop the Explorer off the house and fix that fender. She's like, yes, please, would you? And it was like an all-day project for not nearly enough money because it's my chiropractor. But I spent all day on this fender, come out beautiful. He was blown away. And I come to the conclusion that's kind of my happy place. You know what I mean? Like my stress was building up. And while I'm sitting there working this fender for way too long, my stress just kind of melted away. I'm like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
it's therapy.
Yeah,
Our
it was.
job is freaking therapy, and it is. It's. I can't. Yeah. It's
For those that don't know, we'll never know.
in the
And my
world
wife,
I found. Yeah.
yeah, she's like, that day I got done again. It's the smash fender, and it looked beautiful on a black Ford Explorer. So of course you're happy with the job, but she's like, you were just a totally different person because you got to sit out in the driveway for 6 hours and fix a fender. I'm like, yeah, I guess, like you said, I guess that's therapy for a dent guy, right?
You know what else it was? You had no pressure behind you. You had nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Nobody's calling. And for me personally, that's what hurts me. Because I always book my schedule so tight. Everything's by the hour. Every second counts. I'm out the door like a spaceship and I'm getting it. But the days that I schedule just 2 smashes at the shop and I'm not going out anywhere else, I feel like it's a better project. I mean, I had an Audi fender 2 weeks ago. It took me 8 hours. I planned on being done that fender in 3 hours.
Sure.
It took me 8.5 hours. And I got done and I was like, God, I got my ass beat. But the phone wasn't ringing. Customers weren't up my ass. I could just sit there, have my own music on, and just,
Yep.
It just is such a great feeling. You know what I mean? It's that, I don't know. We do have a great job, We're very lucky that we can do what we can do. One of the reasons I wanted to have this show is just to kind of explain our experiences of how we were handling our business. And I think you guys need to really take that in perspective and have a plan. If you're a busy tech, have your plan of how you're going to handle it. Because if it happens like it did for me, DEFCON 1, got to run upstairs, disappear, everything's all over the place. And I'm like, hey, can I just have like my computer and let me, but you need to have a plan for your business and how you're going to handle it. And some of these retail customers that I'm going to call next week, I may have lost because they may be scared. And I'm okay with that. I get it. You know what I mean? I'm at that point. I get it. It's not a big deal. But I think I gained respect, like the guy that texted me today. I gained this guy's respect, and I'm probably going to fix his dent for free. And the reason why is just because of that. You know what? You made my day. Sure. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I'm still talking about this guy that sent me a text. So, I don't know. I just think you guys, everybody out there, it's unrealistic times right now. We're all going through it. We're all stressed. We're all trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong and how to be safe and the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, and do what you can do is the best, what you feel is the best, that makes you feel comfortable. Mask, no mask, gloves, no gloves, sanitizer. I mean, I've never washed my damn hands this much in my whole life. You know what I mean? But, just have a plan of how to handle a situation like this, because I don't think this is going to be the last one. You know what I mean? The way things have gone, and I think just be prepared.
Be ready. Got to be ready. And, the 24-hour Baywatch channel is
I didn't know that existed.
plan, Vinny. It's a good plan.
What channel is that on, Vince?
You can only get it in a certain pocket of Texas, I think.
The Texas thing, is that what that is?
You have to be a cowboy with a minimum 8-gallon hat, and your Fu Manchu game has to be
tight.
Strong.
Well, he's got that going.
And there's a couple things. Push Metal Gear, she just launched a whole new line yesterday. So if you guys haven't checked that out, go over there, check out her site. She's got some pretty good, nice looking new stuff. And she's had a little bit of a road, with that whole brand. So,
But
yeah, man, it's just do what you can do. I appreciate you two coming on, kind of, going over your experiences and how you were handling it. And hey, I appreciate all the texts that reached out and just checking in on me. It was super nice, and it was nice to have some conversations. I spent a lot of time on the phone with Matt Boyette, so he's calling me today. We talked today, and he was wearing a jacket, and he's like, you can see a little bit of his breath, and he's like, it's freezing cold out here. I'm like, what's it, like 60 degrees in Florida? You guys are in parkas? And he's like, it's like 51. And I'm like, I swung around, opened up the front door, and I said, how cold is it there? We got 12 inches of snow on the ground here. How cold is it there? Palm tree blowing in the background. I'm like, get out of my face. Come on. But have a plan, guys. And
got a plan.
Just be safe.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Just kidding. You'll be all right.
There you go.
Hey, John, how can guys find you?
Find me. I'm on Facebook under John Crew. That's pretty much it. I told you I don't do the whole crazy social media. I'm on one platform.
I'm gonna work on you on that. Now you're gonna get worked on. We're gonna have to introduce you to the whole thing.
How's that? I'll be like a sponge. Teach me.
We'll do it.
Digital devil is coming for you.
Oh boy, I'm scared. I'm scared.
It's fun.
Mr. Reaper?
I'm Dent Reaper on Instagram and Facebook or John Vidine. And what is Dents and Dreams? I don't know.
Tell us.
Keep your eyes peeled. There
Something
might be a new podcast coming. So you guys just keep your eyes peeled and shame. Yeah. Do you see any shame in my? That's why we have the Coors Light here. It's the shame dampener.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been fun.
Appreciate you having us, right?
On this
Absolutely
interesting show. You guys have a great evening. Be safe. Wash your damn hands. Wear a mask. See you guys. What a show. But like I said, I wanted to share my experience. It was a little trying there, but figuring it out. I had a little bit of a game plan, and I had a wife that was super prepared and took care of me. So I'm super lucky here. Just do what you can, do the right thing, and be safe. Keep it real. See you guys. Have a great night.